But at the same time, you know, when you think war, you're usually thinking of some guy like leading, you know, an army into battle. You're not usually thinking of a woman. And what I'm trying to say is that maybe because, you know, men are more willing to resort to that as a means of achieving their ends, then that is what has become history, and that is what has been studied, and that is what has prevailed as the way of doing it.
William's point, but I mean, if you think of kind of the three most prominent female women that I can think of, Indira Gandhi, Margaret Thatcher, and Golda Meir, all three of them were renowned for their kind of toughness and hawkishness.
But that's why I don't think those are female or male characteristics.
No, I'm not saying that they're specifically female or male. Just that I think William's point about that the people who decide to go into this field have to buy into that conception. Like you have to believe that to be an effective international statesperson, whether you are liberal or constructivist or whatever, you have to really kind of empathize and understand with the conception that force really matters. You know, that
I agree, although I would just say, and this is also in response partially to your point, is that all of IR and international relations, I mean, war is certainly, you know, probably 85% of it, or, you know, whatever the number is, I don't want to quantify, but there's a large part of it that isn't. And I think, I mean, this is coming from someone who has zero interest in working for an NGO, but I think international organizations have a role in that area. And they're not less important, in my mind.
Yeah.
So if there are people here, you know, us 50% who want to work for NGOs, doesn't mean that's not a valid participant in international relations. It's a different one that you might be interested in, but it's not less important, or doesn't have less.
At the same time, I mean, I think that is kind of and I do have realist, like, you know, I do see the world in a realist way in some sorts, but I think that there's a lot of things that are important to the world today that I think realists kind of take out, all the nuances, all the, you know, that I just think are, perspectives like a feminist perspective, I mean, the fact that, like, when you talk in realist terms, like, you're always excluding, you're really only talking about, like, 10 countries, and you're excluding, like, 2/3 of the world. It's kind of like, you know, I never feel like I'm just learning about, like, your relations between Europe and, you know, the big China, who's big threat, blah, 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 and you know what I mean? Like, it's very kind of, like, it's not the entire world, and I think that does come exactly what you're saying, you know, you have to go back to the past and see where it came from. It did come out of big world wars, you know, and lots of killing and stuff, and so it makes sense. At the same time, you know, it has progressed a little bit. There are other actors